Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Jennifer and this is my daughter Claire, who's just doing limbo under the light cord. Hi! You showed them your Minnie Mouse. Wow, okay, you can move now. Today I'm going to do the December reading wrap-up. I'm filming this on the 28th and I don't know if it's going to go out today or tomorrow, but I might as well get this out. I know in my last video I said this might be my, that might have been my last video, but I was like, oh, December reading wrap-up, and I just finished a book yesterday, and I know that I'm not going to finish this other book by the end of the year, so that'll be in January. But I did read 3 books. But the first book I read this month was Scythe. And this is a trilogy. I've only read this first one, but I'm definitely getting the other 2 because this was a 5 out of 5 stars. It's about if there was no death in the world, if there was all cure for everything. And then also when you age to a certain age, sometimes they have this thing called a turning. And they can choose what age they want to be look-wise. I mean, they still probably, 100, 200 years old or whatever. But they could choose if they want to look 25, 35. You know what I mean? Okay. Yeah. That's you. Good job. But, yeah, so it's just crazy to think of a world like that. But because of overpopulation and people not really dying, because people could try to commit suicide, but they have these, like, things that can heal you. When I think of, like, the stuff they were talking about for healing, I was thinking of, I don't know if you guys have ever seen Passengers with Jennifer Lawrence and, what's his name? And Chris Pratt, where, remember how they had that, like, tube thing that could help heal a bunch of different things. That's what I thought about this as, but it's more technology in this one, because that obviously didn't cure that one guy's cancer in that movie. But anyways, so what they have are scythes who come in, and they it's kind of a random thing. Sometimes they search for who they're gonna kill for. They go based off rates of, like, if this was in real life, this person would have been a drunk driver and most likely have died or killed other people. So then that's how some of them do. Some of them are random and just choose them. Some of them are very evil and do these mass killings all at once. So it's just, it's a really crazy story. And these 2 main characters, it's a boy and a girl, they're teenagers. They are being trained to become scythes. They don't want to be scythes, but they are training to become because the master scythes have chosen them, and they have to be trained and go through this, like, thing. And oh my gosh, it's just crazy. This whole story, it took some twists and turns that I wasn't expecting, and I can't wait. I can see why this is going to be this is 3 books, because there's so much going on in it that they got what they needed to be done in this first one, but there's this bigger world, and so I can understand why they're doing the other 2, and I can't wait to read those. This was a 5 out of 5. It's just reading. It's a YA fantasy, but it's just this is awesome. My next book I read was In 5 Years, and this one I thought was going to be a romance because the dust jacket description says you know, about how she gets engaged to this her boyfriend that she's had for a few years, and then she falls asleep and has this dream that she says is so vivid that it felt like another, like, a premonition or an alternate reality type thing, where she was in a different apartment with a different guy, had a ring on her finger, and she looked at the TV on the news and it says it was 2025 because this takes place in 2020. So it's 5 years later. But then she wakes back up in her apartment and stuff, and she said it felt so real. She didn't tell her fiance or anything was going on. But anyways, the story goes through, like, all these crazy things where it links the 2 ends. And it's... There's a lot of things that happen in it that's very unexpected that I really wasn't expecting, and it was sad. there was happy moments. There were like, you know, but to me, it wasn't like a romance novel. There was romance stuff in it, but to me, it was not a specific romance novel. I don't know if this is called literary fiction or what genre this goes in, but I feel like the description kind of becomes misleading. You think it's going to be a romance, but I think that's what's cool about the description. You think you're going in about you're so cute. You think you're going in, gonna read something, and it comes out being nothing else, and that was surprising to me. And so I would say on Goodreads, I gave this a 4, but it could be a 4.5. It did make me cry. It had me all the feels and everything, but I do feel like there were certain things missing. I don't know. It's a solid book. 4.5. Really love this book. It's short. If you're not much of a reader, but this book sounds interesting, you would go for this because it's only like 255 pages. Really enjoyed it. And the last book I read was The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, and this was a 5 out of 5. So this would have been on my list of favorites of the year. This would have been on my favorites list, but I already did that. And plus, I think a lot of certain December books, because if you're doing all these videos, should go into the next year. I guess count into the next year. So this will, if depending on how next year's goes, I would probably add this on that favorites list and discuss that this was read at the end of December and wasn't on the list before. But this was about this Hollywood actress. I forgot what age she is in this, like 70s or 80s at the time, where in the nowadays, and she's having this character in here who's like a journalist, having her write her biography, and there's a whole story about that in itself. But this, so it goes into what she's telling the journalist who's gonna write her book. And it just, she talks about this whole story that a lot of the stuff she kept hidden from media. So she was in the 50s and 60s of starting to become an actress and become famous and stuff, and she was known just because of her looks, and she had like really big boobs and stuff. And so she was really got to do all these cool films, and it shows her relationships with people, the dirty stuff they do for power and money and fame. Oh gosh, she's playing with this watch. It's just the things that they have to do to keep certain things hidden in their life, and also to make themselves famous. They do certain things as well, and it's just crazy. And she did these movies that broke like thresholds, where there was a lot of people who didn't like her because of what she did. But nowadays, it's nothing. Nowadays, they show everything on TV. And so this story turned out to be something different, because it goes in sections of her life of these 7 husbands, but it's not technically about these 7 husbands, but it's more of the occurrence in her lives during these marriages. Some in love with, some marrying just for fame and cover-ups and stuff like that. And it's just really crazy how this book was. I wasn't sure what her motive was with that journalist, but you find out at the end. And it's just, there's a lot of heart. I did cry a little bit, and it's just like, what an amazing Hollywood-like story with these, and it makes you think that there's people in Hollywood that did this shit back in the day and probably still do it now. But of course, back in the day, there was a lot of like things of what was acceptable and what wasn't, and we've come a long way from that. So I just really, out of these 3, I'd probably highly suggest this, because I feel like this is one that goes for everybody. Like, because there's Scythe, that's YA fantasy. Some people don't like fantasies or YA books. These 2 are more of like, this is like historical fiction type book, because you go back in time to now, and then this one is more like a contemporary type. And very good 3 books that I've read this month, and I highly enjoyed and highly recommend. So thank you for watching. Oh yeah, you're showing everybody your toy you got. Thank you for watching my videos this year and subscribing to my channel. Please continue to watch my videos. I'll see you next year. Bye!